Hey, BATT Family. Today is a fun episode. I'm very excited for this. I'm pretty sure that our special guest is now questioning whether or not they should be on here, but we'll get to that. Scott, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Got home from Chicago from a nice weekend and had a great time. Bought some board games and got to be at the Science and Industry Museum for the better part of a day. So
nice.
I loved it.
Well, and you went and saw the Spider-Man thing, right?
Yeah, we saw the Spider-Man exhibit, and then Science and Industry Museum does a Escape the Museum.
Very cool.
So we came back 2 hours later and got to spend an hour where there was just people trying to do escape room puzzles.
Yeah.
It was so good. Such a fantastic way to get you into your museum.
And that's a really fun museum anyway. We went earlier in the year for the James Bond exhibit, and that was super cool.
Love it.
Meanwhile, next to him, in multiple pop culture brands, there we go, there's the word. Jason, how are you doing?
Splendid, Batsy!
Oh my gosh. Now our special guest is definitely questioning.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Is everything okay on your end, Jason?
Yeah, it's been really good. We got to jump into a new board game cafe this last weekend.
Yeah,
and had a
victory
soft
roll.
open.
Whoop,
That
whoop.
was super cool. But yeah, we've been having a good time putting down a good amount of games to play.
We have. It's true. So now we get to the fun introduction. We have a member of what is pretty much royalty almost within the board game content creation review space. We have the master of beige games, terrible games, and really wonderfully awful jokes. Chris Yee, how are you doing?
Hello, that is quite the introduction. I prefer nobility over royalty personally, but I'll accept it. It's okay, I guess.
That's fair.
Thank you, Your Eminence.
We'll stone him later. It's fine.
There you are. No, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for inviting me on. I love podcasting. It's been a long time since I've done one, so it's always an exciting thing to be asked to come on and join with some people.
Now, when did you join Dice Tower? Officially on the front side where we saw you on the camera.
That was almost 5 years ago. So January of 2021 was when I started. Moved from Las Vegas out to Florida to join up with the team. You know, the first few weeks was most behind the camera kind of stuff, working on things. But I was on camera doing reviews pretty much from the beginning, you know, in a few months in, once I got my feet wet with everything. But yeah, it's just kind of grown since then.
Silly that this is stuck in my head, but I was trying to find the video it was on, and Dice Tower produces so much content I couldn't find it. But the first mention I had ever heard of you was on some top 10 with Tom and Z, and Tom makes this offhand comment of, we hired this new guy, and in the chat you just put in, and he's super handsome too, and that's just always been my my impression of you.
I'll tell you, that is the reason many people don't like me. Because I don't know, I'm so confident the fact that I can just make fun of myself, but some people take that as like genuine me being full of myself, which I assure you I'm not. But you guys probably assume that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in the same boat right there with you, I think.
Oh, there's a firm belief of imposter syndrome, I think, pretty much all across the board.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're okay.
Very much that.
Yeah.
You know, the good news for me is the imposter syndrome's gone away for the most part. You know, I put in a lot of hard work. I feel like I do things well. But it was definitely there from the beginning of, like, I just, looking around and be like, oh my gosh, like Tom and Z are my coworkers. This is kind of, otherworldly. Like, I'm getting instructions from Roy and Mike of how to do my job. This feels so cool.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that ever it's become just this like routine, like, oh, Monday morning again, got to clock in. But it is nice that the imposter syndrome parts have gone away. And now I feel very comfortable as part of the team.
That's awesome.
I think that's how we felt for the first half of last year of doing this. And
up until we went to Gen Con, I would say I would agree with that. And then we started hearing decent response back to us. And then we made it to this Gen Con. And
this Gen Con was crazy.
Roundly positive. So.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I semi-ambushed Chris in the bathroom as I was finishing washing my hands. I'm like, hey, you just released Soda Jerk. How are things? And he looked at me like, it is late on Saturday. What are you doing?
And we're in a bathroom.
I try not to convey too much perplexion at moments like that. Like I get it. We were just talking, briefly a few seconds before we hit record of like, there's no non-awkward way to run into someone at a convention and be like, oh yeah, you're Bruno Catala, or oh, you're the guys from Shut Up and Sit Down, or you're from the Dice Tower. Hi. I wish we weren't in a bathroom.
Right.
My hands are soaking wet, but at least I was washing my hands.
That's the important part of the story, though.
So, what's been on the table? Scott, What have you been playing?
Thankfully, I've been able to get, with my group, we've been playing some Frosthaven. Anymore, it seems like that's almost a part-time job anymore. But I love it.
We're finally getting to play it. So.
Yeah, we're finally getting to play it again. Schedules are clearing up because, of course, that's always the thing. I got to sit down and play Point City for a day. That was nice. And when I was in Chicago, I brought Point Galaxy to read over those rules. I purchased Ink, and so I was looking at that and see how that works. I ended up picking it up. Yeah, right. It was my birthday gift to myself. So, yeah, you sometimes have to splurge. It was on my waffling list for Gen Con, and when I saw it there, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to get it because it was at a good price point. So, a lot of solo gaming.
Nice.
What about you, Jason?
I got to get lucky enough to play my Dungeons of Infinity, which I've been waiting for a couple of years.
You finally got to play that?
Yes, we did it on Sunday for Theater Geeks. So
Well,
got to have that experience.
Since I was in Chicago.
Your FOMO is so bad right now.
Oh,
it's delicious.
Oh.
But we did get to go ahead and throw that one down and have a good time with it. There's a couple notes, but I definitely appreciated it, and I've thrown a lot of the old D&D tabletops kind of out the window because of it. So
wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Also got to play the DC Deck Builders Rebirth.
Yeah,
which was
the
a different
co-op one
system
from a couple years ago.
Yeah, so it's co-op and competitive, but it has a new mode for locations to be able to go around on, and added kind of a new level of complexity to that game. So that was pretty cool. Among a lot of the 2-player games that we got to go ahead and play not too long ago.
That was a fun night.
Yeah,
that was a lot of games, a lot of whiskey. I think we finished at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I think I went home around 4:30, 4:45, and I was like, that was a good one.
It was super worth it.
Much needed.
Chris, what's been on your table?
What is on my table right now is actually a bunch of Star Wars Unlimited cards. I am not a TCG person. I've never been a Magic the Gathering, or I collected Pokemon cards when I was in elementary school because that's what the cool kids did. But I rarely ever played that game. I never bought packs and singles and stuff. But Star Wars Unlimited's really got me. I've been really impressed with it. It's very fun. I can play it with my daughter. She's 10. And so that's kind of been one of our cool little head-to-head games that we play together. So I just bought a bunch of packs, and I've created about 6 more decks of characters. Nice. So excited to actually pull those out and play them. So far, I've just constructed them, which I've never done before. So this has been a fun new realm for me. Board game-wise, Chronologic, the deduction series, Chronologic.
Big fans
Cusco 1450. We just got the new one in at the Dice Tower studio. And so, yeah, I love the original one. Played through a ton of those cases. So, yeah, playing through the new one now. And it's just as good. It's definitely a next step in deduction and complexity compared to that Paris box, the 1920. So it's definitely great for people who already have played a bunch of the original and want kind of that next leap. It provides that. It's a harder starting point, but it's great.
I picked it up at Gen Con, and I've been holding off until we got a couple more Paris episodes done, and then I was like, I'm going to crack open Cusco.
Now, when you're building your decks for your TCG, do you build it by theme, or do you build it to make a powerhouse of a deck?
Once again, I mentioned I play it with my 10-year-old daughter, so definitely just theme.
Hey, there are some that just want to
I've met some parents.
Yep, exactly. Just make them learn.
Make them learn. No, I'm not I'm not going to take the approach like the chess grandmasters who are like, you will defeat me, child, when you are a man. No, it's we're playing for fun. She wants to play Ray. Cool.
On my table, I got Enthroned back to the table, and man, Enthroned is so stinking good. I taught it to my brother, and we played it 3 times in a row because it's short, it's snappy, it's wonderful. We had the misfortune of playing First in Flight. That was not a good time. I got to play some more Chemical Overload, and at this point, I will just say it has flat out replaced Dominion for me for a game that I have loved since 2008 or 9.
Very
whenever
cool.
I started playing it. Chemical Overload just does that clean deck builder that has a couple little twists on it that I like more, and I just don't need to go back to Dominion. And then the other one, because I have the DC United backed, and I have been waffling on, do I want to keep it or not? I know that eventually, if I didn't like it, I could probably sell it, but I don't love just arbitraging board games like that. And, it's a lot of money hanging out there. And so the DC Hush box came out.
Yep.
I was like, let's just test it out, see how it goes. And I enjoyed it. The only other Marvel United I played was the original retail box, 5 years ago, whenever that was. And my opinion wasn't very strong on it. And it's what Simon does best, right? If they release too much in a series, but they learn, they iterate. So by the time you get further down the road, the game is just better than it was at the start. And I think that's where it is now. So I'm interested to play more of it. I really want to try the Hush case. I haven't done that one yet.
Hush is tough, but it's thematic. It's a cool core box if you don't mind the challenge level being a little bit stronger than the previous Marvel Uniteds. So it's good. It's a good box.
Good to hear. I'm fine with that, because when I was looking through, and like Hush has a power that's like anytime a henchman's knocked out, he speeds up his threat or something along those lines. Like, yeah, that makes sense. All this tracks.
Yep.
So for our topic of the week this week, I thought this would be a really fun one to have since we have Chris on with us. We have all of us that are at this point just content creators flat out. And I think we can all agree there are too many new games coming out. Not that it's a matter of quality or anything, but it's the fact of we just can't play everything, right?
Correct.
So the topic that we concepted was this idea of returning to classics, games that we love or older games in general, just in a sea of new releases. Why are we going back to them? Are there games that we are going back to that are old because we've never played them? How difficult is it in the sea of, here is the next 6 things we have to play in the next week because we have Kickstarter previews coming out or whatever, but man, I really want to go play Godspeed again. Kind of that idea.
Yeah, that tracks. Put mine under 2 basic categories. One is nostalgia, because a lot of the games I'm going to go back to, it's stuff that I played before, and I've really, really enjoyed them, and I want to go back to that feeling, because it's kind of like going back home, or watching your favorite movie, or any of those things. It's comfort food. It's nice to go, here's a game that I can put on the table. I don't need to look at the rule book. Maybe a quick little 2-minute brush up, but I can throw it on the table with whoever I'm with, and be able to go, I can teach everybody. And I know everything that's going on, and I feel comfortable with whatever anybody does, and I don't have to worry about anything. The other one, and I put it down as, it's kind of split, I put it as barometer.
Okay.
Because of, I liked this game before. Does it still hold weight? Why did I like this? And then it's to see where I've come from.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about it. I mean, we've been now doing this a little over a year. I'm definitely a different gamer than I was when we first started. And so it's nice to sit there and be like, I mean, we did the review for Niet. You guys did not care for it. I still enjoy it, but I realize I'm enjoying it mainly because of nostalgia.
Well, when we talked Courtier, that was the same thing. Boy, I forgot how mean that game was.
Yeah.
That second category is one that I use frequently of, I used to love this game. Do I still love it as much as I do now? How does it stack up against things? I will say, if I am in that position with it, is this game staying on my shelf? Is this one I want to keep returning to, or can I just kind of shuffle this off?
Right.
I think one of the interesting things, too, is that I was assuming that you're going to say barometer in kind of the opposite direction, where if you have a classic standby that you love coming back to, it's nice, it's refreshing to kind of dip your toe back in the familiar waters, because then it allows you to reassess and say, okay, well, I'm looking at new games constantly for work, or, for one reason or another, for reviewing primarily. How does it still hold up to games that I have loved for a long time? Is this something that I truly love more than, and it's funny that you mentioned this, right? Dominion is one of my all-time favorite games. And so if I play a bunch of new deck builders and I say, oh, yeah, this is good. Oh, I like what this is doing here. But if I don't come back to the classic game that helped set that standard for me, it's a little bit more fuzzy saying, like, do I like this more than Dominion or not, for example, if I haven't played Dominion in 4 years. So I think that it's also kind of like it resets your tools. It kind of recalibrates them for what really does make a game strong and stand out for you.
Yeah, I've got a couple very loose, I think, when it comes to that. Barometer is definitely a good one. I think another one is just my comfort zone for games.
Sure.
Specifically when it comes to a duality of, am I playing this with family and I want to make sure that I have this game set up and I know how to play this and it's their shtick, or if I'm playing it with friends that I already know how they're going to enjoy a game, if it's going to be, a lighter game or more complex or whatnot, then it's a little bit easier for me to go ahead and hone in on something and be like, yeah, I love this game. I already know this from front to back. So I know this one's going to be a good one for family time, or I know this one's going to be a good one for just being laissez-faire with friends. So let me just throw this down and call it good. I think that's kind of how I break it down a bit. There is also some heavy nostalgia in there of, man, I got gifted this a while back, or this is my first game when I really got into the hobby, that it's hard to give them up.
So I don't want this to come off as pejorative, but is it an idea of nostalgia, or is it an idea of almost like a self-guilt of, I used to really like this game. Like, I really feel like I should still be playing.
There's a bit of both. I know that there's a couple games that I have specifically, and I can label them right now, but I don't want to throw shade now. That's for later. We have a couple games that I know if I play them now, I'm not going to be as thrilled or as happy to play them because of what we've been doing over the last decade now with games. And I have them mainly because of like sentimental value. It's less of, oh, well, I'm going to come back and play this game. I have other games that are better for it, but maybe this game or parts of this game, like expansions, I got gifted from people. I'm like, I don't want to go and get rid of this because I have memories.
Sure.
Or there's a little bit of a heartstring into it.
I mean, Mega Man the board game will never leave my collection, but it will also never see table again because that game was
Same.
garbage.
Yes.
And it took me forever to collect everything. But my God, I love Mega Man enough. It's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Because when I look at my collection, and at this point, I have honed that thing repeatedly. I am very, very happy with my collection's at, even if I feel like there's too many games in it right now. And for instance, Madam Ching, this old Bruno Catala game from like 2012, it's a really good game. I've gotten to play it twice, I think, and it's been like 2 or 3 years. And that's what made me think of the topic, is as I was sitting there looking at my shelves, and there's Arcs, and there's My Father's Work, and there's Divinus, and it's all this stuff sitting there that we need to play. But I'm like, I really just want to play Madam Ching again because it's been so long. And especially a game like that feels like it didn't get much talk about in the first place. Like I mentioned Godspeed earlier, I feel like I am the champion for that game. I don't know anybody else that cares about it. And there's part of me that wants to constantly play that because I do enjoy it. But finding the time, like I said, we have Divinus. When are we going to play Divinus? Because we are still working through Ticket to Ride.
Tidal Blades.
And Sagrada, and like yet another campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like what it all breaks down to me for, like, why do I still own all these games? Is because there is that idea of, here's my baseline, like Chris is saying. Here's the nostalgia of, I've had the enjoyability of all these games. Like, I will not get rid of my Dominion collection by any means. I have played an enormous amount of it, and I still think it's one of the best deck builders ever made because it's just that mechanism. But I want to own the games that I do because I want to play the games that I own. And when I look at games like Madam Ching or Godspeed, it's ones that I have had that nostalgia with. They are ones that I have had really high amounts of enjoyment, and I think I could get other people to enjoy. But finding the time for them, especially when we do have Arborea and 12 Rivers and Spooktacular sitting there, like it's a hard push because people are so excited for the new stuff.
Yeah.
And I will say that this was even before I was in, working for the Dice Tower. My game group back in Las Vegas, we would meet every Wednesday and we would play a game, usually 2 kind of like crunchier Euro games, and then maybe something silly, a few games like that, and call it a Wednesday evening. And it was funny because we kept playing a game like Mombasa, which was, a few years older. It didn't like make a huge splash per se, but is one that, all of us really loved. And then we'd say, yeah, we should play this again next week. We should be willing to dive back into games and get them repeated to the table more often. And then the next week someone would say, yeah, we talked about playing that. I did have this Kickstarter show up, and all of us were like, well, we'll play this one this week. Let's do Mombasa next week. And the next week comes around and we're like, well, this person had this Kickstarter show up.
Yeah.
So it's not exclusive to board game reviewers. I think it's just kind of enigmatic of partly the board game hobby producing so many games. And like a lot of people feel that. A lot of people have that guilt of, well, I bought new games and they're still in shrink. So obviously the right thing to do is play those new games. Oh, I have all these old games that I've wanted to get back to the table, but I haven't in a long time. Now I feel guilt about that. And ultimately you just kind of have to figure out how to not feel guilt for enjoying your hobby. If that means buying fewer games, you buy fewer games, right? And then some people take that to an extreme where they say, I'm going to buy 4 games this year. That's my goal.
Oh gosh.
I think
if I only bought 4 games, I would probably implode. Like, let's be honest.
4 games a month even for you.
Yeah, there are some months where, it's been that bad. I will also state, like, going back to an earlier thing, nostalgia is real. Like, if all of a sudden Jason said, hey, Scott, I'm having a really bad day. We're going to start Atmosphere at, 8 o'clock at my house, and be like, I'll be there with bells, sir. I would totally drive the full hour to his house. It'd be on a Tuesday. I didn't care. I'd be like, I'll be tired at work. It's fine.
Man, he just chopped the boots right underneath me because that's one that I was going to throw down here as one of the main topics for me.
Because it's true. There are those games where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm in. Say less. You've already sold me. You said the word. I'm on my way.
A couple of years ago, I did a thing where I tried to play my entire collection within a calendar year. And at that point, my collection was like 280 games, and I somehow pulled it off. I pulled it off in like December 29th, but by God, I did it. And I think the last game played was
Night.
Yeah, it was a lot. And it was an interesting experiment for me. And frankly, don't do it. It's because
I would advise highly against it. Yeah,
because what I ended up finding was that essentially guilt came in of, oh man, I really want to play this game, but I have to play this, otherwise I'm not going to get this done. And it was weird. I felt much more pressure under those guidelines than I have done under anything for me, a content creator. But the only real positive that came out of it was that constant, like, all right, here's my floor reset of I have now played everything within the last year, so I now have a strong opinion of everything against everything in my collection. And like a good 40% of what I own just left in the following 6 months because I had played them. But yeah, it's don't do that.
At the same time, to your credit, I feel like that is a good way to figure out games that you really should cull from your library if that's the case, so you don't hold on to games just because you haven't played them in a little while. You've knocked them all out in the year, so you know which ones, like, all right, I already have games I know I'm going to enjoy over this one, so we got to play it, we did the thing, let somebody else enjoy it now.
Yeah.
It's someone out there might say, that sounds like so much fun, and it might be for you and might not be for the rest of your household. But at the end of the day, enjoy the hobby how you want to enjoy it, not because you feel driven by guilt. Some people make those 10 by 10 goals, play 10 games 10 times this year, and by December they're posting online about how miserable they are trying to get the last 7 games of Root played. Like, well, just let yourself enjoy your games instead of feel obliged
I stopped doing
to play
those
them.
for that same reason.
Well, I tried back in 2020 before the world went upside down. I went to play 365 games in 365 days.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to be completely different, but it was just like, if I'm playing Twister on Monday and I play it 10 times, it only counts as one play. But if I play it again on Tuesday, it also counts as a play. So it's like trying to get as many plays in as I could, because of course I was going to my local game store and playing with friends there, and so it was like, cool, this is 6 games that I got to play. We played them 9 times each, but hey, it's 6 games, and that was a little bit better.
It's interesting because there are the games that, like I said, I want to keep going back to, but I think the reason at this point I do go back to them isn't any guilt or nostalgia. I'm always going to play Suro because of nostalgia. Also, that new 20th anniversary edition of that looks sick. Very excited for it. I've distracted myself. But the idea that if I'm wanting to go back to a game, it's generally because I feel like there's more there for me to mine and find. And so when I look at something like Starry Night Sky, which I have talked about many times in this podcast, I very much enjoy, I realize, frankly, I'm probably not going to go back to it because I enjoy the experience, but I don't think I'm going to get anything inherently different out of it from the way that I want to go back to something like Madam Ching, because I haven't gotten played enough and I do want to see more of what it is. Because especially in that case, since it's a Katala game, where did that go? How did that influence other designs of his? And now that's getting into a completely different thread of the conversation, my personality. But that idea of I want to go back to something, even if it's older, because I think there's more for me to find there.
I will still play Ticket to Ride because there's still strategy in that game, even though, yes, I have all the routes memorized and can figure out probably where a person is. It's still fun. It still brings, that, how can I do it this way? I find ways to challenge myself in that game.
Well, there are some games that I've had in the past that I have very vivid memories of just great enjoyment having with certain groups. And I find myself nowadays wanting to bring them back out because I want other people in different groups that I've joined in our friend pods to enjoy and have those experiences as well. And there's a lot of games that I've had for a while that I have been able to go and bring out, and I've had a lot of those same bouts of enjoyment or excitement in very different ways. Like Scott said, Atmosphere is just a funny, kooky little game and takes exactly an hour to play. But the amount of different friend groups that I've brought that out for is crazy because the amount of different feelings and different ways people have played and whatnot has been just crazy. And so everybody has different memories of playing that game different times that I can go ahead and talk to each group with. which is really special to me.
Something amazing about sharing something you love with other people and they're reacting to it like it's brand new, right? I'm going to tell a Dice Tower story here.
Yeah.
We had an event last weekend. It was a gaming event called the Big Game Bash. And so it's funny because it started off as just like a Friday, Saturday game night, basically. And it's kind of turned into this thing where people are traveling in from out of state to come and game with us and everything. And it's really fun. It's a really nice event that is hosted at this local church in the Fort Myers area. It's been super fun, and we had a couple of people come down and ask, like, hey, can we, get a tour of the Dice Tower studio? They're people that we trusted to actually come in. We've met them at different events and stuff. So I took some time out of my evening, and I showed them around. Mind you, we've moved into this studio only 6 months ago, maybe less than 6 months. In that time, it's become so ordinary because I show up, it's the office, it's the studios that we work in all the time. And to show new people this office space that we just built and see the wonder in their eyes, the excitement, I was like, man, this is something really amazing, right? The office space itself is bigger. It allows us to have like specialized setups and stuff for all the live streams we do. But also the fact that it's just the Dice Tower. I mentioned in less than 5 years, it's become ordinary, so to speak, right? And at the same time, it is extraordinary. So it's fun to bring something back out game-wise and see people react to it for the first time the way that you reacted to it 5, 10, 15 years ago.
On the flip side, you could have something like when I tried to show Jason Nightfall and how badly that
You always run that risk. Like when you're showing someone your favorite movie and halfway through you go to look and see if they're enjoying it and they're like down on their phone. You're like, no, come on.
Yeah.
There's been several games where Mark has shown them to me and he's like, so what'd you think? And I'm like, nah. And he's like, oh God, that hurt.
Don't understand why Obsession didn't work for you. You need to try it again. You just do.
I mean, sure.
God, I love that game. We're sponsored by our great friends over at Grand Gamers Guild. Located not terribly far away from us in Grand Rapids, Michigan, they're a publisher that specializes not only in bringing loads of enjoyment across the complexity spectrum to your table, but making sure that international releases are also finding the ability to be played here in the United States as well. And on that, Grand Gamers Guild is attending PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia, November 21st through 23rd. They're going to be at booth 3346 and will have a full array of their games there to check out. A couple of their new games you can pick up are Booba Kiki, a word game where you are trying to assign meanings to a weird image as a group, and Stroop, the thinkiest filler you'll ever play. You can find more of the games they'll be bringing on the BGG PAX preview page and thumb them up if you're excited about picking those up. You can find that link in the episode notes. You can also find the link to their website in the episode notes. In support of us, they're offering a referral code to kick back to Board All the Time on their website, grandgamersguild.com. And if you go to the website and use discount code BATT10, that's BATT10, you'll make sure that not only are we supported, but you'll let them know that we sent you. You can also go ahead and order for PAX pickup for games like Ovation, Gorinto, and Pass, or pick up some promos or expansions for their other games while you're there. Like we said, the link for everything is going to be in our episode notes. Thank you again so much to Grand Gamers Guild. Speaking of showing some of your favorite games to your favorite people, we now get to go into why did I play that, and I am so excited that Chris got to play this.
Oh, good. I can't wait to find out where he falls.
Same, honestly, because I'm surprised that it didn't make your list the first time around in its release in 2018. But this is a game by J. Alex Kevern. It is the game that made me pay attention to him. This is Sentient. It is from Renegade Games. It technically has a theme, but let's be honest, it's a colorful Euro game that has no theme.
Yeah.
But you have a array of cards and dice in front of you, and basically this is simple algebra of the game, where you are going to have 5 dice that you have rolled at the top of each 3 round. You are just setting them for their numbers, and then you are essentially drafting via a area majority mechanism, and you're putting them in your line. Each round, you're going to have 4 cards at the end of it, and they are going to score based on the dice that are adjacent to them. It does have, like you said, an area majority component where you are placing an agent down and then maybe an assistant when you take a card, because whoever wins the area is going to take I believe they're called industry tiles. There's like chevron looking tiles, and they are going to score for bonus points at the end. And if you come in second, then you just score a point. It's not a lot, but it's also not nothing across the course of the game. And so you are just simply drafting these cards, setting them within your dice array, hoping to have everything work out properly to score your cards as you are putting them in line, and then just hoping for the highest score at the end. There's not a ton of rules here. There's even less theme. The second edition, I do think, is a strong upgrade over the first, because even though the art has not changed, the card breakdown hasn't changed, almost nothing about it has changed. It actually gives you a board, which is a big upgrade. I did not realize how big of an upgrade that would be. And then it added a solo mode in. And the solo mode is good. I like it. Sentient has been one of my favorite games since I played it originally in 2018. It has made my top 100 every year. It will make it again this year. Spoiler alert, I guess. I give this game a 9. My biggest complaint against it was that its original price point was too high. There's not enough art in it, and it can be kind of hard to find a group for, because you need to tell somebody like, hey, we're going to do math, and it's going to be fun for 45 minutes. And I have people that have played this and walked on and like, I need a copy of this right now. And then I've had, well, we'll get into it. So, you guys, how did you feel?
Oh, God.
Oh, Scotty, you should go first.
Do I have to go first on this one? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Thank you, Chris.
So since it is a area majority variant, it already scored low.
Sure.
We already know that, because can't stand that mechanism. It's one that I will always struggle with.
But you liked El Grande.
One whole game, sir. One.
And Wonderland's War. 2. Ha. Move on.
But anyway, things that I don't like, theme art will always bring it up. I like the art, but there's only 5 pieces of it, and it's repeated. And it's like, you have a color scheme, you could have continued a style of art, but like, it's pink. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If all the cards would have had a pink character on it, we would have all known it could have elevated a little bit more.
I think they did that in the game's defense the way that the original print of Ethnos did it, where you're able to look at it and see like, okay, I know it's her. That means I know the classification of card, because I've thought about this a lot over the course of time. And I think it is because if I had a different character, it is not as immediately visible to what am I trying to go for the set collection.
Well, I was thinking about that as well. Like, they could have at least done like a couple different, because most of the service cards all had a similar mechanism, or there was a variant of a mechanism, but there was a group of mechanisms for that math section. They could have had like 3 different pieces of art. So you're like, oh, I know that with this one, I have to have one die be this and one die be that. And, there's my mechanism or whatever. This is my mathematical formula I have to come up with. When we were playing, Jason had said, like, well, you were never first, or if you were last. And I'm like, it didn't matter where I was placed. I always felt like I was behind an 8 ball. I was always trying to play catch up. I had one really good round in the beginning, and the rest was playing catch up with you guys, because you guys were going after literally the same spots that I was going on to, and going after what was working for my dice, but you guys were dumping on the one. And so there was no way I was going to get either of those spots. And it was just like, it was very frustrating. It was 45 minutes of, why did I play this? I need something better. And we got it by a luck of draw, literally, with the next game that we played. But no, I mean, I might play it one more time, maybe.
Much like Scott, I really enjoyed Sentient.
Fantastic segue.
There's a reason that I suggested it to you, Chris. I'm very happy you got to play it.
No, I thought it was neat. You have to let certain things go right out the window, right? Like, for me, I agree with the Ethnos comparison, where every single service card has the same picture. Every single communication card has the same picture. I don't mind that. Does it feel lazy to some degree? Sure. But also, it's super readable. And I value that. I've had lengthy conversations about Ethnos first versus second edition, and my many complaints about having all the different artwork. Sometimes too much artwork is a negative on a game when it slows down the recall and the quick perception of everything out there. But I found the puzzle to be satisfying, your own little player board area. But I think that the game really comes to life in the fact that you want those score multiplying chevrons, whatever you call them there, where you win them from the area majority. And I thought that it was a neat way to do area majority that I haven't seen before, where it's kind of in between, 2 different places where you draft cards from. So you are are trying really hard to be able to win not just one, but two if possible, but then which two, and they have to correspond with the types of cards that you're trying to collect. So I thought, much like J. Alex Kevern's previous few designs, one of which was Gold West, was I think maybe the original game that kind of put him on the map, and then the other one from Renegade, which is World's Fair 1893, really, actually World's Fair has some neat little comparisons to it. Area majority through card selection, and if you've never played that one, I highly recommend World's Fair 1893. It's one of my favorite games. It's the one that's been on my top 100 for years and years, and you can see some of that similarity, some of the same DNA, but I like that it's done very different in Sentient. So yeah, I enjoyed it tremendously.
I liked World's Fair. I did not get enough chances to play it because the people that I was playing it with just didn't generally enjoy it, because there are these moments where it feels almost obvious of what a turn should be in that game. And I think where Sentient improves on that for me is that idea of, I have the area majority that I'm going with up top, but I'm also doing this set collection thing, because if I don't link the two things together, then the industry tiles, the chevrons don't matter, or if I don't get cards to match them, then it doesn't matter. So I liked the twists here more, but I also played this before I played World's Fair.
I was actually on Chris's side for this one. I did really enjoy it, and it was for the majority. Building that mathematic puzzle on the bottom in my play space was something that I really enjoyed, and that was my entire strategy for playing. I didn't really think of, where am I going to be putting in my Meeples or the extra little asterisk guy that you get to go ahead and add to that play space. It was literally just looking at which one of the cards would make the most sense in my play space, putting my guy there. And because the assistants really, there isn't much of a reason to keep them unless you can't figure out your play space's equation, I would just go ahead and throw down an assistant every round with it, because why not? And it ended up being a 3-point game between Mark and I for those, where it really didn't feel like I cared that much about the area majority. It was mainly just about how I can maximize what I've got on my board. And when it comes to the argument about artwork, I really do enjoy the theming of the artwork and how it's done. I do think it looks really pretty. The colors are kind of a burst out there, which is really nice.
It is thankfully very colorful. I always like that.
I was originally in Scott's corner for why there is only one of each card art to go ahead and come out, because it did seem kind of lazy. But Chris made a very valid point that it makes it so that's recognizable in each one of those card types, that, okay, this is definitely going to be an industry card. This is going to be an information card. All right, I get that. That makes it easier, especially...
Mark made that point, but I will take the credit.
Did you? That's fine.
It's fine. I appreciate the humbleness.
But yeah, I think that's a big thing, is taking a look at it, especially when it comes to if people have color issues. If you have those set iconography back there, and whether it's an icon or it's the art piece, those things can be really important. So it did sway my opinion a little bit for it. But all in all, I did really enjoy the game. I really like having that kind of mathematic tableau that I have on the bottom, and didn't have a lot to say negatively about it. I did think that it was a bit important where you were in the round. One of my other strategies, besides just having a really cool mathematic board and making sure it made sense, was to go to make sure that I try to use as much of my stuff as possible and made things fit into that board before I passed, so that I could go in and make sure that I had one of the first spots.
I really liked the game, and frankly, I'm very happy to hear that you enjoyed it the way you did, because I thought I might be getting both of you on the negative with this, because that tension I really enjoy. Of if I place one of my cards in slot 1 and then I put my other one in slot 4, that means I'm not able to touch those 2 dice in the end again, and it means I got to be really careful what I put in the middle to not screw up what I've tried to go for. I really like the tension, because every decision you make isn't inherently strategic, but the tactical response to the game on every turn is just so high.
Exactly.
And 2 things I think to really shout out for the game is, 1, it has some of the coolest dice I've ever seen in a game.
100%.
Those dice
Yeah, the
look
dice
great.
are really good.
I wish they got used more, but yeah, I've always liked these dice.
And secondly, in a world where people complain that so many modern Euro games are multiplayer solitaire, This is not, right? Between the passing for turn order, but also passing, wiping the market, and that area majority mechanism in the center. There's so many games where it would have just been simply take a card, next person goes. But the fact that there is that intrinsic, you're trying to get those majorities, it throws that interaction back in the center of the table. And now you're looking at the other players. They matter more than the dice puzzle. And so I really love it for that.
And it forces this interesting mental math of that card will just work for me. But if I am able to go over here, maybe I can figure out a way to make that card work. And now I'm vying for the area majority. And maybe if I put my assistant down, I can make sure that Jason is just edged out of there. But now I'm at the mercy of what cards because I don't have any left. For being a game of almost no rules, it's a very short rule book. It literally has not changed from first to second edition. It's almost Knizia-like in its, here's a couple of beans, go blow the world up. Like, it's crazy how much comes off of how little there is.
And I've seen some distant relatives of the game where instead of having the dice drop, it's how do you make this money? How do you spend the money to go ahead and get the thing? And those are the games that I'm less intrigued about, in all honesty, because most of the time I don't care about making the money. Like, I'm trying to go ahead and make stuff work. So having the dice there, and it's just you roll your fate and you make it work with these cards. There's something just beautiful about it. And that's why I really honed in on this game, because it was a lot of how do I make this work with some of the funky dice that I ended up picking up.
Any other thoughts?
We all loved it.
Yeah, we
4 out of 4.
all loved it.
Moving into really what Chris is significantly better at all the rest of us for doing, it's Table Shelf and Trade. It is time to review some games.
Ding ding.
I have brought 2. I am assuming you guys have done the same.
I brought 19. What are you talking about?
Cool. We're going to be here for a while. I mean, Chris, just walk away. You can come back eventually. Scott rambles. It's fine.
We all ramble.
I'm going to bust out Twister on my side. Don't worry.
Yes! It's making a comeback, y'all. I'm just telling you.
Well, with that, Scott, why don't you twist us into your first review? What you got?
So I decided to go and look at the things that I had picked up at Gen Cons past, and picked up, I've got one that is definitely staying, one that is definitely going to be going.
Sure.
My first one, I've got to go with the one that I like probably the most. It's one of my favorites, and it's just an expansion, and that would be from Bezier. That'd be Rebel Princess.
Such a good game.
I love card games, always will love card games, love trick-taking games. Being from the Midwest, I mean, that's part of my bread and butter, it's part of my DNA. And I love just the fact of the different rules and the different little events that happen and those character powers, the asymmetry. The game sings to me. It is a 9. It is a solid 9 for me out of a possible 10, because it just gives me everything that I want, because it's like, okay, cool, I had a great time as this princess, I'm going to do a different princess. And it's technically Hearts, but it's not, because of all the other little things that are with it. I just dig it. It just hits a sweet spot for me.
Hearts is one of my favorite classic card games anyway, and I agree with you. This is a 9 for me as well, because if it were slightly more accessible, because it has enough gamery things on it to make it really attractive to a more gamer audience, but it means that I can't easily put in front of somebody like my father-in-law, who is a huge player of hats, as the New Yorkers call it. And so, like, I love the game. I think it is great. It is one of the only Bezier games I actually enjoy, but for being Hearts Plus, essentially, just joyous all around. I really like that game.
Yeah.
Rebel Princesses is great. I really like this one.
I actually haven't played Rebel Princess yet, so I'm gonna abstain from this one.
Interesting. I thought we played with you. Have either of you gotten to try the expansion for it yet?
I didn't. It was sold out when I tried to go pick it up.
I didn't realize it was out at, was it you talking about at Gen Con?
Yeah, I came out at Gen Con, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'll need to try the expansion. I'm also looking forward to Zombie Princess, the one that's supposed to be a riff on Spades.
Yes.
Spades is my favorite classic trick taker. It edges out Hearts for me.
Yep.
But yeah, the expansion for Rebel Princess is very good. It's only like 6 or 8 cards and 2 new princesses, but it adds in just that little bit of extra variety. It's nothing more than a more stuff expansion. It's great. It actually fits in the base game box, in the base game insert.
Oh, see, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. It is way overproduced packaging for the intent that you're supposed to throw it away. It comes like a hard clamshell. It's really nice. It's like, but this just literally fits in the box. You did this on purpose. Why is this so nice? Anyways.
My interest got piqued at Zombie Princess. Now I want to get down on it.
I love Spades as well. So give me zombies. I'm all about it.
Chris, did you bring anything?
Yes. The first one I'll talk about is Popcorn. This is a bag building game from Yellow, I think is bringing it out. Fantastic, phenomenal theming about running a movie theater. And it does a little bit of kind of like Orleans or Quacks of Quedlinburg, where you are pulling meeples out of a bag and putting them into seats in your movie theater. And you're showing them these parody films. And, a lot of the names on these movies are fantastic, right? There's a boxing movie called Adrian.
Yes.
It's My War. And it's just got great theming to it. I don't like the game, unfortunately. The game itself is just, it feels very rinse and repeat. It has these very, I don't want to say it's very mean, but it has these kind of bluntly mean elements where you can steal meeples out of other people's discard piles before they go back in the bag. And it just kind of gets to a point where I think that the cleverness and the cuteness doesn't support the game that it's built around, unfortunately. So on your trade table shelf scale, this one's a trade for me.
Sure. I hadn't heard of this one, so I pulled it up as you were talking. And it has what looks like good art, like little fun popcorn containers for what I'm assuming are the meeples to be put in. That's always a bummer when you have something that looks that good and just doesn't come off.
You really excited Mark when you had a Quacks comparison too. So.
And it's funny because I really don't like Quacks at all, but I think I'd prefer Quacks over this one. Cubitos is maybe another comparison point. And I think Cubitos does a lot of the things that this does better, unfortunately.
Sure. Jason, what you got?
So I'm going to go ahead and start this on a low note and end it on a high note.
I'm doing the same.
Yeah, because I want to be positive by the end of this, and this time I'm going to be extremely negative. So there's this little game that we got to play that's a 1 to 2 player, and right off the bat, as soon as Mark brought this thing out of the box, it's ugly.
One of the ugliest games out there.
It is just atrocious. And then there is this kind of area battle of it, and I hate it so much. The iconography is garbage. I'm just going to flame this game. It is a Paolo Mori travesty from PSC Games. It's Caesar. And the only thing that I can appreciate from this is Caesar's likeness on the front of the box. I really wish this thing got stabbed by a bunch of senators instead of Caesar.
That
Awful.
is one of the harshest reviews I've ever heard you issue on anything.
I hate this so much. There's not much else I can say.
That's fair. I mean, look, it uses that mechanism that I don't love. I am setting you up so that way you have to set me up so I can do something.
Yeah.
It's a game full of, I want to not be the one in second to last place, essentially.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
I love this one.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I mean, you're right. It does that dots and boxes type thing, right? Like the old pen and paper game where you're like, okay, don't be the one who draws the second to last line because the last person gets it. But I don't know. I find it really fun. The idea that it's not just the person who closes, who puts the last piece around an area, but it's you do that area control scoring. And so, yeah, you might close it. You might get the bonus token, but I have a majority in the space. So when are you going to do that? There's a lot of neat mind games to it. Do you guys like Blitzkrieg, the original game in that line?
So
Yep.
we sat down, we had a 2-player game night that you probably would have appreciated. We did Iliad, Icar, Operation Barclay, Timber Town, Blitzkrieg, and then Caesar. And we had not played any of them before that evening.
Yeah.
And we both walked away much more positive about Blitzkrieg than we did Caesar.
Yeah, I appreciated Blitzkrieg a lot more, but I feel like Iliad did what this does in a sense so much better when it comes to who's going to put here last. The iconography and the artwork in that game is so much better. I loved the tile laying and the choices you have to make and the mind games you have to play in there. The strategy in that is just so much more intriguing and better. This just felt like Bad Decisions, the PvP game.
Yeah, your view's very valid. Yeah, absolutely. Especially the part where you said Iliad is a better game. I agree there.
100%.
Thank you.
My big thing when it came to Caesar was it was a win that felt bad because it was one of those where we were watching and based on how the tokens were coming out, I was essentially leaving myself at half capacity the whole game because I had what I needed to close off Rome itself, and I knew if I could just outlast you that I would be able to sweep in and take what I needed, and I was able to do that, and I dropped 6 of my control tokens at once.
In
7?
1 turn. 7.
Yeah, it was 7 because I had the adjacency bonus as well. And I mean, that was everything I had left.
Yeah.
On one hand, like, it's cool that the game allows you to set up for that, but at the same time, you were seeing that it was coming and you were just trying to not be forced into it. And I think you were just eventually forced into it based on bag draw.
Yeah, there were, I think, at least 3 or 4 turns before the end where I just sat there like I'm hosed. The bag draw in the last 3 turns has been awful for me, and I know that what's left in my bag is going to make me do this. So halfway through the game, I'm like, I am going to just lose. But I'm not one to, board wipe or anything. Like, that's not... I'll play it to the end.
The one thing that I do like about this more than Blitzkrieg is I really do think the design of the chits, where they are 2 different numbers, they always add up to 6 unless it's a wild, and then it only adds up to 4. But that system of how do I want to use this, essentially which territory am I giving up on unless I'm placing 3s, I think is a really interesting set of decisions. It's one that my reaction was better to it than yours, even though it uses that mechanism that I really dislike, that dots and boxes thing. But if I have both, I would rather just play Blitzkrieg. And frankly, at this point, I would rather play Nippon Blitzkrieg because I love that map. I'm very excited for what Flintlock is going to do. I mean, this for me, it's a table. It's like a 5 for me. I would play this again, but I know I will probably be thinking, I just want to play Blitzkrieg instead.
It's a 1 for me. It's a trade. I'm so glad that you picked this game up instead of me because I feel like I would have wasted my money on it.
It was a trade, but I get your point.
Yeah.
So my first one, also from Yellow. This is the first new Yellow game I have played in a very long time. And reasonably, this could have ended up in our segment in a little bit because I went into Pina Colada Ice with no expectations beyond it's a dice game. Whatever, I'm here, it'll probably be fast.
When did you get to play it?
Over the weekend.
Because I own it, and I haven't got a chance to play it yet.
And I played it at 2, 3, and 4, and I find the game to be not excellent. At the end of the day, it's still a push your luck dice rolling game, but the componentry is great. The game is from Jan Dupont, and it uses these really pretty frosty little blue dice, which, spoke to nostalgia for me for all my 40K dice that I used to have. But it uses an array of coasters. There's 25 in the box. You make a 4x4 grid, so there's a rotating grid every time you play it. And depending on your player count, and I think I like it at 3 the best, but it worked at all the counts that I played it at because it determines in a 2-player game, 1 person can grab each tile once. In a 3-player game, half of the tiles are accessible to 2 people. In a 4-player game, they're all accessible to 2 people. But that little bit of randomness with some area control of if I can make a line, I can just win and points don't matter. And so there's some interesting decisions there. Out of all the games, I played it 5 times, which says something. I only saw it win by points once. So it's actually easier to get that to pull off than you think. I don't know. It was, for me, I mean, it's a table because end of the day, it is push your luck. It's just a dice rolling game. But for a filler game, it looks pretty. It plays well at the various player counts. I mean, I would play this again. It is not my favorite thing in the world, but I was legitimately surprised because I played it the first time. I'm like, all right, we're doing this again. And I kept playing it because I felt like there was more there. And I do think there is more there. I think it's a fun filler. But of all the filler dice games, like this just flat out replaces Can't Stop for me, for instance. There's some good decisions here. I think you're going to love it, Scott.
Cool. Can't wait. It's still sitting in my Gen Con bag because of, it's like, okay, I will get to you because there will be a day I get the chance to play it. So yeah, that's cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I really want to try that one too. I like simple push your luck games. So you're selling me on it.
I think you will have a very good time with it.
I haven't jumped on it yet, but I do like push your luck games when I feel like I don't have a giant stake in it, so I think that one could be a fun one to jump on.
I mean, even with 4 players, the game is 15 minutes tops.
Yeah.
It is short.
Oh, that is a short game.
So you will not have couriers happen again.
Yeah, it's only because my dice luck is just garbage.
Everybody at the table, I think, will like Pina Colada Ice more than I did, but I was legitimately shocked how much I enjoyed it for how much I dislike Push Your Luck.
Nice.
Gotcha. My second game, I picked it up at Gen Con, like I had said earlier, and this is the Phil Walker Harding game Cities.
Oh, I haven't tried this yet.
Now, I'm going to say it's just a table for me. I played it. I own it. I was able to get the promo for it, which was actually kind of funny because the one promo site, it's Indianapolis and then Essen.
Oh, that's fun.
Which I thought was brilliant. So this is a worker placement, tile drafting city builder. So you'll have like certain, depending on what city you're in, you will have a diagram of sort. You're basically trying to build a certain type of skyline with using certain things to get your points. It's like a 6.
Okay.
Close to a 5. It's not quite out the door. It's hard for me to get it onto the table. I did enjoy it. I mean, like, it's simple artwork. There's nothing to the game that is completely distracting.
Oh, those are fun little pieces.
Yeah, you sit there and you build, and there's common goals for everybody, and you're basically racing to try to get those things done. But it's like certain things will get shut out depending on where people place things. So you're like, it kind of limits you in some aspects. I mean, I did enjoy it.
Sure.
But it's just like getting it back to the table. I could bring it here. Am I sure you guys are going to enjoy it? It's going to be a hit and miss, I think.
Here's the thing. You know how much I love Phil Walker Harding.
That's true.
And I will play almost anything once. But was that this year's or was that last year's?
That was from last year.
last year.
Yeah. So I was looking at 2024 games.
Yeah. What I ultimately get frustrated with Phil Walker Harding with is you have a couple of really, really great plays, and then unless the game is just transcendentally good, it's just like, okay, I've reached my limit on this.
I've played it a couple times, and that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know how much staying power this one has.
I haven't played it yet. I am assuming, Jason, you haven't played it yet.
No, I have not.
Chris, have you gotten to it?
I really like it, but I have some of the same concerns that at some point, as much as you can swap out the city and its different goals, I think that you have to say, I want to sit down and play kind of a quick, easygoing game that's going to feel kind of samey from game to game, but because of the drafting or the worker placement, however you want to call it in this game, you have to pick from a different category each time. You're sitting there with a lot of tension on certain rounds. I think that's when the game is the most exciting, but it's not going to be terribly different after repeat plays.
Sure.
Yeah, it very much was like, okay, I'm in a different city, but it's still essentially the same. So it's still at the table stage. It might eventually slide into the trade stage, but yeah.
My second game is the second game in the This Game is Killer line, Frozen Horror.
Oh, yeah. We're obsessed with this. But continue, because we haven't actually seriously talked the game on the podcast yet, so go nuts.
Well, I was going to say, you don't even know if I like it or not yet.
I know Joey does.
I love this one.
There you go.
I like both games in this line. The Frozen Horror, this is the second one. It has a smaller map, and it actually has a token representing the location of each player, which I think for some people is going to be a positive compared to the first one, where like, what room are you in? Well, it just kind of depends on what card I play this round. Oh, I'm in the airlock. Oh, randomly I'm in the mess hall or whatever it was. I think that having this little element and basing it as like a parody of John Carpenter's The Thing is a really good move for the sequel game, where it does enough to keep it different, and yet it still has that same very simple element. You play one card for a movement or location, and you play the other card for this like ridiculous action that takes a lot of the elements of those bigger games like The Thing, the board game, or Horror at Outpost, whatever the game's called.
Yeah.
It takes those longer games and distills it down to just the moments that everyone always talks about in these games and puts it on these cards, and I think it does a great job of that. So I like the fact that one person is the horror or the thing each round that will eat the other players in the room with them. So there's that like suspicion of each other. And then once everyone reveals their role, you reshuffle up the cards, deal them back out, and then the survivors play another round. And the different players the thing. So it doesn't have that like overly long-lasting social deduction to it. It's just kind of punchier, really funny, and really enjoyable. This is a shelf for me. This is high up there. It's at least 8.5, maybe a 9 for me.
Nice.
Yeah, this is totally a shelf. We had so much fun when we played it.
I enjoyed the first one, but I had a few issues with the game. Like you said, there were some of those production things of, not having a representation where it was. Some of that was, you know what? I got the card that blows up the airlock, and I have the card that blows up the kitchen or whatever it was. Well, I guess I'm blowing up one of the rooms. I'm sorry, I'm killing you. What I like about Frozen Horror more is that type of I'm just accidentally screwing you over doesn't happen, but by putting the villainous role off of the table and making it in the players, I think the interaction is really interesting. The game never lasts more than 3 rounds, because in the first round, when even if you're playing with 10 people, like 6 people die at once, and then you just get down to, the base is falling apart and all that. I think it is a brilliant evolution of a very simple design that was enjoyable that has now become really excellent. It's another 9 for me. It's a shelf, not even a question.
Now, I have a hard-hitting question for you, Chris, and I'm just making sure that I put you on the spot. When it comes to both iterations of this, do you feel like it is a this or that type of thing, or do you think both of them are valid to stay on your shelf?
For me, I would keep both. and I don't really usually recommend that, right? I believe in smaller collections and kind of thinning it out and stuff. I think that this one, I like the original one. I think it has funnier moments to it, right? The fact that there's that one card like the Corporate Spy where you win if you are alone with the alien, the old role reversal, then you blow up the ship as you leave with the DNA sample, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen happen in a game. And I think that the first one has some of those bigger moments like that. I think that the second one is a better designed game. And so I'm happy to play either. Actually, I enjoy kind of switching it up between the two. So that's my take on it.
Great answer.
For a game that supports 4 to 10, they really do work shockingly well at either of the ranges.
Agreed.
Jason.
Well, as I said, started out low, going up high. We got to go ahead and play a nice kind of cozy game with the three of us. And while it doesn't cater to a lot of the thematic interests that I carry, this game itself is just wrapped up really well. It's built really well. The components are fantastic. It is from Smirk and Dagger. It is a place for all my books.
Okay. And we played on just the retail version, so we didn't have all the super fancy bits.
No, but even with that, the books, those tiles, were just gorgeous the way that they were put together. I love that each one of the colors have their own kind of special filigree on it. The artwork on there is nice, soft, kind of cartoonish feel to it. It does kind of get that whole theme of the introverted bookworm, and it's not exactly like a, solitaire feel, because you're still kind of paying attention to what the other people are doing and, how close they might be to getting one of the objectives out here. But I didn't ever really feel slighted or upset by any of them like I normally do with some of those games where somebody might come and snake something right in front of me. I got to play it. I felt fine. I felt good at the end. This one's going to be a high 7. And while it's not in my collection, I would recommend this to a lot of people as a shelf, because I think that there's so many out there, especially in our friend groups, that would revel in this game.
I mean, it speaks to the spicy brained. The fact that your ability to do anything is your social battery is just, it's a silly little thematic touch. I'm a little lower than you on this. For me, it's still a table, but I would probably call it a 6. The solo mode was good, but it felt a little, I don't want to say unmanageable, but there were moments boy, the extrovert is totally winning right now. For being a stacking puzzle and how am I going to play things, my issue with it largely relies around feeling very reliant on the draw that you have, because when you are solving those little projects, you want to solve as many of them at once as possible. Just efficiency is the name of the game. When you're sitting there and you're like, cool, I've cashed in 4 of them, now here's the next 2 that I've drawn and I need to just completely undo what I did to score the other ones. Or, oh hey, I just accidentally drew into a card that I just so happen to have. It's a little luckier than I want it to be, and for me it doesn't match the coziness of the theme, the energy it gives me, but I would happily play it again. It's a very enjoyable game. I think it works at any player counts. Like you said, there's a lot of people I could recommend it to, but for me it's a 6.
Fair point.
What about you, Chris?
I haven't tried this one yet. It just came into the office, and I'm looking forward to trying it.
This is higher for me. This is a shelf for me. It's a solid 8. I haven't gotten a chance to do the solo mode yet, because we know me in solo modes. It could have a solo mode. It's going to take its time before I actually get to it.
You just need the space, and that's what's weird about the game, is it takes a lot of space.
But yeah, it's right up my alley. The theme's chef's kiss. Absolutely fantastic. I didn't get a chance to see what all the upgraded bits look like. I would love to see what it looks like with all the upgraded bits.
The standard meeples that you're moving around, those that custom cut, I think they are screen printed with your character on them. There's
that's
little
cute.
bits like
Okay.
that. The deluxe box is actually, I don't remember if it's flocked on the front of it or not, but it looks like a book, so you can put it on your shelf.
Love that.
So my second one is one that I resisted playing for a very long time, because for a long time I was very anti-apps in games. Not out of apps shouldn't be in games, but my day job, I spend 8 to 10 hours a day on it, and then I have devices around me everywhere, so I do just disconnecting. But then I found a copy of this at half price books, of all places. And you know what? For that cost, I will try Mansions of Madness out. And man, is this game good. It's super enjoyable. The app does great things for managing and giving you atmosphere. And, when you're sitting there and you're setting up the board and you have everything in front of you, it still feels useful to have both the physical components and the app. At no point of my experiences with the game so far have I been like, this should just be a video game, because the tactile nature of it is very enjoyable. The dice are balanced against you, so that way you're leaning into that theme of how much can I push? What am I dealing with? I think the scenarios are a mixed bag. Some of them I very much enjoyed, and other ones I have not. And I really wish the minis were more usable, because, and I'm sure I am not the first person to ever say this, but at this point I just play with the monster tiles. I don't even use the minis, because having their stats and having any special abilities when you flip the tile over is just too important for the way that I've come to play it. I really like it. It's got a really good arc amongst the length of the game. It feels thematic, because we've been playing other app games. It's one of the best ones that I've played, because it does feel like the app is supporting the game, not is the game and why am I playing with components.
Gotcha.
So for me, this is a shelf. This is an 8. I am very much enjoying it. Like I said, I wish there were more free scenarios, and I wish that more of the scenarios were a little better balanced, but I've been having a great time with this over the past few months.
I love that game. That is one of my favorite games. It's actually probably one of the reasons why I don't mind app-based games, because of how well it was done. There are some where you're just like, okay. But yeah, Mansions of Madness, love it.
It's fantastic, and the fact that it was not the first by any means, but it was pretty early on relative to when you think about app-integrated, app-assisted games. It did so many of the things right with it. So it's kind of the benchmark that I hold all games to and say, is this as good integrating the app as Mansions of Madness was? And I think it's phenomenal.
The one thing I really like about it that I haven't seen in other app-based games that have expansions is when you go in and you say, oh, I've picked this expansion up, you just toggle it inside of the app. But you know what? Maybe I don't want to play with those components this time. Just untoggle that and it won't pull from that pool of stuff anymore. It's really nice how that works. I did go through and actually Sharpied against all the edges of the map tiles, so that way I knew, I need something from Streets of Arkham. I'm going to pull from like the green stripe stack.
Nice.
Just as a table thing, but...
That is one of the smartest things I've ever heard, and I also know that it gave someone a panic attack hearing
100%.
that. That makes me happy in 2 different degrees.
Yeah, I don't normally do that, but I'm like, for ease of use, I'm going to suck it up. I'm just going to have some Sharpie lines on them, and look, I'll stand by it.
Have you gotten to play it, Jason?
I have not. I kind of want to dive into it and potentially have it for, I don't know, maybe we do a live stream.
It would work on a live stream, because that's the other negative to the game is, on the whole, it's long. Like, most scenarios are in that, 3 to 5 hour range. So, I mean, you're going to be at it for a while, but yeah, I would happily put this on the table on stream.
Heck
It's
yeah.
super good. Hey, everybody, it's Mark from the future again. If you were wondering why this episode took an extra little while to come out, it's because of an error I have never seen happen before in the almost 2 years of us recording and producing that occurred on this episode. Basically, Scott's entire audio track was corrupted and overwritten by Jason's. I had to fish everything out of Scott's and make it work, and I think I did a pretty good job, except for his portion of this segment. It was a total loss, and no matter what I did with it, I just couldn't save it and have it be a coherent piece of content. You will get to hear his thoughts on his selection for Surprise Party, Title Blades 2, at a different time, because there just wasn't anything usable in this segment. Anyways, we hope you're enjoying the episode otherwise, and now, onwards. I appreciate our rotating segments because they let us focus on games in ways that we normally wouldn't. And this is one of my absolute favorites, and it's Surprise Party. These are games that we're not here to review them, we're not here to do whatever, but they have missed an expectation. It could be much better than we expected, it could be much worse than we expected, but this is something that legitimately just surprised us after we played it.
We were just talking about a dungeon crawl game, basically, in Title Blades 2. I'm not usually a big fan of dungeon crawlers. I find that there's a lot of things that kind of slow them down, or digging out tiles and from the box when there's 100 of them because I haven't Sharpied my tiles. But the recent dungeon crawl that's really sunk its teeth into me, or I've sunk my teeth into it, or whatever the turn of phrase is, has been Deep Rock Galactic. That was such a pleasant surprise because I saw it, the big Kickstarter edition with all these minis, and I tend to bounce off of those games really hard. And as soon as I played this one, I was surprised that there was a nice brevity of rules, relatively speaking. We were able to kind of get to the gameplay of it pretty quick. And I just started laughing. It's just so thematic and so enjoyable. I love being these space dwarves, having to mine the space rock and stuff. And I've never played the video game. So I went into this completely unaware of the world that game inhabits. But I just found it so fun to be able to run and gun and to dig your way. Like, you know, in no other dungeon crawl have I been able to just like dig my own pathways quite like this. I'm getting well, actually, right?
I mean, no. I haven't played it. I've played not a ton of the video game, and it didn't strike for me, but extraction shooters as a whole just kind of don't. That said, have you played Super Motherload, the deck building game?
No, I haven't. That's the old Roxley, right?
It is, and I think they still have it available. I think it's still out there. I actually think the board game is more enjoyable than the video game because you have this really minute deck that you are constructing across the course of the game. I think it starts with like 6 cards and you end up with like 12. It's not a ton. And that tunneling is just a really fascinating little system. When I looked at Deep Rock, I was pushed off of it because I didn't get in on the theme. The price, wasn't nothing. But I sat there and I'm like, I wonder how that would do mechanically when my baseline for that is Super Motherload. So I haven't gotten to try it. I would certainly play it, but I haven't gotten to table it yet.
Its biggest fault, I think, is its price point. And that's also true with all the expansion boxes and stuff. I'm very well aware of that. But I think that the game is fun. It doesn't have rules. It gets in its own way. And that, for me, made it such a nice, pleasant surprise that it's one of my favorite thematic games. And it's one that I'll come to and I'll teach to a lot of people.
Nice.
Yeah, so Deep Rock Galactic. It's great.
Jason?
Surprise! I'll go next.
Okay.
For this part, I threw on a game that we got to play at MacWagCon. I was very surprised that when we opened up the game and I saw the immense scope of this card collecting game, we had all players full. And the size of this game of Millennium Blades is crazy big. It takes up the entire table and then some. I was very excited to play it because Mark has talked it up very much.
Love that game.
We brought it out and we saw like all the different types of cards, different packs you can go ahead and pull from. And there are so many cool pieces of artwork, so many asides and parodies of all of the important ones that we've seen throughout the years that I loved looking at all of the cards. And I think there lies one of the Achilles heels for it, that the surprise of it was how much I didn't enjoy playing this game. And one of the main reasons is you have 5 players, you have a ton of cards out there. You want to read what all of these cards do because you're building a deck off of this to be able to go ahead and play and try to do a however many 2 to 5 players that you're playing with. And you can't. And it gets frustrating for me not to be able to go ahead and read those cards. It got frustrating that when I finally got to go ahead and read a couple cards that were getting really close to making something work in my deck really well, that they got plucked like a turn or two before I would have been able to pick it up. It was such a letdown playing it that I enjoyed looking at it and admiring it more than actually sitting there and playing it.
I think it is a victim of player count because we played 6 players because the game says 2 to 6, and with the collusion it goes to 6. With the just sheer I need to reach all the way over there, what card, the game is best at 2 or 3. I had never played it above 3 players before this MacWagCon, and I will never play it above 4 because I don't think it would extend the time too terribly much. But those players on the wings were just screwed.
Yes, I was. It was rough.
Well, he was next to you, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
It didn't have that feel good that I wanted to of a let's play the CCG and capture that. And I know this doesn't, with how we've spoken earlier, Chris, you don't do a lot of TCGs, so maybe this one doesn't collapse that well into your wheelhouse, but it just didn't capture that uniqueness that I've had before of the TCGs cracking open a pack to see if I got, that Grail card, that really cool one to use in my deck. So it was a letdown.
I still don't know that I just cracked open a bunch of packs of Star Wars and I was still just like, this card looks great. Ooh, more TIE fighters.
That's, yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to try that one?
I've not, no.
It's a game that comes out very rarely for me because what I have found is if you don't have that CCG background, the game doesn't make as much sense. Where if you've been to a store event, you've gone to something, you've done a draft, you understand, oh, it is one of the best thematic integrations for a board game, card game, whatever that I've ever played, only because of how much meta knowledge I'm able to draw on. So it's a tough one to table. And when I had you all, I think there were 3 or 4 of you, they're like, we need to finally play this. I'm like, okay, we'll do it with 6. We'll see what happens. I want you to try it again. I think you'll like it better at fewer players.
If I don't feel it, I just time crunched with it, and we're just sitting here playing it for a while. There's potential for it, but currently it's definitely a trade for me.
So my surprise is that I like this game at all, honestly, because cozy themed games don't normally do it for me. I don't need every game to be some, knife fight, tense thing, but I like when there is interesting mental stress in a board game. Now, yes, you have stuff like Q-Birds, which is, I'm trying to find weird toucans, whatever. That's our go-to stupid game, right? Yeah. But then you put in the fact this game has exactly 15 turns per player. I generally don't like being told, you can only have this. And it's a nature theme, which on the whole don't really do it for me. You know me, I like space, I like robots, I like all the things. But man, Pergola is so stinking good because it's just a sequence of set collections and trying to value your stuff at any given moment. And the fact that the player boards are quite literally place the things where you want. Like it is, you said laissez-faire earlier, that's the appropriate approach to this game because the buttercups are going on the pergola board on the left side, but they can go in any order, they can go wherever. I can put lavender leaves anywhere, I can stack hollyhocks in the middle, like you can just do whatever you want. It's a point salad, which I normally am not a fan of. But guys, I keep coming back to this one over and over and over again, and I am just loving it. I picked it up at Secret Door's anniversary event because I'm like, I want to pick something up. I want to support the store. And Milla spoke so highly of Pergola on the Dice Tower. I'm like, you know what? I'll try this one out. Oh, man, it's so good. I don't know why that tray doesn't have a lid. That's really my complaint.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
The tray inside. So I have a piece of thin packing foam to keep it all in. And it works perfectly. Gives the box a little bit of lift. But why this tray does not have a lid is baffling.
Yeah, because it doesn't run flush to the box lid. So yeah, you're just going to have pieces everywhere.
That'd be infuriating to me.
Yeah, you need this tray to make the game anywhere reasonably playable. Yes. Because there's so much stuff. But why does it have a lid? I really enjoy it. I think it's great. It is a game that I am legitimately using at this point to just relax with. And the amount of times I win, I'm like, oh, you're totally going to win. It's going to be fine. And then I come away with an extra 5 points somehow. That's fun. The BGA implementation is great. It looks beautiful on the table. Legitimately, my complaint is why is there not a lid? That's it.
An important complaint. Would not surprise me if there's a second printing that has a, hey, look, we apologize.
Right.
Yeah.
They pull a Planet Unknown.
People would buy it. If you on Etsy have a 3D printed snap-on lid, you could make a killing on Pergola sales.
I mean, we know a guy that does some CAD work and can 3D print.
I asked him if he'd do it for me. It sounds like I'm the only one that's played this at the table. So my general statement is play it. It's way better than you would think it would be. So, all right.
That's phenomenal.
Moving on. Well, at this point, it is just us getting to roll the red carpet out for you. Chris, is there anything that you wanted to talk up, pitch? I know you have Soda Jerk out there. Is there anything that you wanted to just say, hey, I am Chris, and these are my things?
Well, yeah, I mean, so my game, Soda Jerk, a small card game coming out, is out now from All Play. I'm not used to saying that yet. It's available on their web store, and it's $9-10, and it's a little stock manipulation type game. I think it's quite fun. It's a game I've played maybe 100 times or so far. And that was the thing. When I designed a game and when I was pitching, I said it's a game that I would have to be okay playing that many times. And I'm happy to say that, yeah, it still holds up. I think it's fun, but I might be a little biased. And then the other thing that I would like to shout out as part of the Dice Tower, we have a line of games, the Dice Tower Essentials games, which are games that Tom has kind of found and is bringing through Arcane Wonders. There's a Game Found campaign for a game called Raas, A Dance of Love.
Yeah, from me here.
Yeah, from me here. Yeah. If you guys have met him, he's he's one of the smartest gamers I know. Mm-hmm. And it's cool. We got to play this prototype, man, 1.5, 2 years ago or so. And it was wild. It was really neat. Dice drafting game has this cool gear turning kind of thing to it. And it's neat that it's not just cool gears, but it also represents a dance from, I believe, his state in India or his region of India, where people dance in these concentric circles. It's got a really cool, like, rich theming behind it. I think it's a neat little game. I think it's spectacular looking, and I think that it's a lot of fun as well. So I want to try playing the new advanced version of the rules. I've only played the basic rules so far, and I think that the basic ones are pretty dang good already. So anyway, I just want to shout out that that's on Game Found as this episode drops. And so, yeah, if you're looking for a cool game, I recommend it.
Yeah, I worked with Mihir at the Stonemaier booth when he did Viticulture World, and he was starting to carry around the prototype for Raas around then, and I somehow have yet to play it because the 2024 Gen Con, we sat down to play it like 6 different times. It didn't happen, but I have been intrigued by that ever since he talked about it. And you're right, the new production, what I have seen of it, looks absolutely spectacular. We'd like to say thank you to Secret Door Games over at 215 South Main Street in Elkhart, Indiana. Since opening their doors in 2015, they've been dedicated to creating a friendly and inviting space for board game enthusiasts in downtown Elkhart. Their knowledgeable staff is there to help you find new ways to have fun with an extensive selection of board games, card games, miniature games, role-playing games, and more. Whether you're a seasoned gamer or new to the hobby, you're invited to come in, explore, and share in the joy of gaming with them. Open 6 days a week starting at noon, closed only on Mondays, you can make sure that you have a great time supporting your FLGS and getting to find Board All the Time recommendations while you're at it. You can also find them on their website, www.secretdoorgames.org, which will be in the episode notes. Thanks again to Secret Door Games for supporting the podcast. Next up, we would like to say thank you to our longtime friends and new sponsors of the show, Meeple Source. They've been supporting us all the way back to 2019, and we love getting to support them back. Meeple Source is a one-stop shop for all of your board game upgrade needs, stocking realistic resources, custom pieces for specific games, game trays, metal coins, playmats, promos, and all sorts of other accessories. You'll be able to make your games look utterly glorious. They also stock bundles of everything you'll need to upgrade each piece of some of your favorite games like Wingspan, Agricola, or Brass, and frankly, more than I could possibly list here. They also stock Geek Up bits if you're looking for the bags and acrylic tiles for all of those titles as well. So be sure to go to meeplesource.com/partner=BATTG to let them know that we sent you their way and to make sure to support both Meeple Source and Board All the Time. The specific link for that is in the episode notes below, so go check it out and thank you once more to Meeple Source. Our final sponsor of the show are our friends from Victory Roll Cafe. A long time ago, a group of friends had a vision to create a space to combine all their passions into one singular dream. This is the culmination of those things. They brought together excellent food, specialty coffee, and hobby board gaming into one space that is entirely family friendly as well. With a dedicated kids zone stocked with games for them and a custom dungeon for those adults who wish to game in a more thematic setting, you can find a wonderful experience every time you visit. You can find their current menu and the listing of their over 800 board games available to play on their website, victoryrollcafe.com, and you can visit them Thursday through Monday, opening at noon at 711 West McKinley Highway in Mishawaka, Indiana. Thanks again to Victory Roll for sponsoring us. Look, at this point, we know you've been listening to a lot of ad reels, so we appreciate you sticking around. If you'd like to get a hold of Mark, Scott, Jason, or any of the theater geeks in relation to Board All the Time, you can do so by emailing us at boardallthetimegaming@gmail.com. If you just want to talk about an episode, or you want to give us a topic of the week, or you just want to say, hey, you guys are idiots, what is with your opinion? Reach out to us. Let us know. We're in the process of relaunching our Discord server, so keep an eye out for that. But you can find all of our episodes, as well as some of our bonus video content that we're starting to upload on youtube.com. We are at Board All the Time. You can also visit us at boardallthetime.com. And while we're still figuring out our social media presence, we are still available to be found on Blue Sky and Facebook. Finally, we would like to remind you that you can catch Scott, Jason, and the rest of the regular cast of Theater Geeks every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, playing tabletop RPGs, board games, and all other kinds of nonsense. So make sure to check them out at twitch.tv/theatergeeks. And now, get out of my ad spots. Chris, thank you so very much for coming on. We really appreciate you being here. This was a ton of fun for me. I'm hoping the other guys, I hope you enjoyed it too, honestly.
Most importantly, I did enjoy myself, yes.
Good. Yeah.
That was great. You set that up perfectly, Mark, and you didn't even mean to. Bravo.
Look, I've said that I'm awkward from the jump, so I'm just, whatever, get out of my house.
All right, that was a good warm-up. You want to hit record this time?